What if the stress you carry today doesn't stop with you? What if your body remembers something, even when your mind doesn't? For years, science told us stress was personal. You feel it, you survive it, and eventually, it fades. But then something unexpected happened. Scientists began noticing people reacting to stress in powerful ways: panic, fear, alertness, without any clear reason. No trauma they could remember, no danger around them, nothing in their own past to explain it. And yet, their bodies reacted as if they had already lived through something terrible. This raised a disturbing question. Can stress leave a hidden mark inside the body? A mark so quiet, so invisible, that it travels forward in time? Not as memories, not as stories, but as biology. And if that's true, then the way we live today may be shaping lives that haven't even begun yet. Most of us think stress is something personal, something that belongs only to us. We feel it, we cope with it, and once life calms down, it's supposed to disappear. Parents often believe that the stress they carry affects only themselves, that their children's lives are untouched by their worry, their tension, their sleepless nights. It feels comforting to think this way. It feels fair. It feels safe. But what if it isn't the full story? What if stress isn't just an individual experience, but a ripple that travels further than we ever imagined? The idea may sound strange, even a little frightening, but science is beginning to show that stress can leave marks that may last longer than our own memories. And if that's true, the way we think about stress and the way we live with it may need to change entirely. As scientists looked closer, they began to notice something unexpected. Stress wasn't just affecting how people felt, it was affecting how their bodies worked, deep inside. For a long time, DNA was seen as fixed, unchangeable, like a permanent blueprint. But researchers started realizing something surprising. Stress didn't change the DNA itself. It changed how the DNA was used. Certain genes became more active, others became quieter, almost like switches being turned on and off. And these switches weren't random. They responded to life experiences, especially long-lasting stress. This was a major shift in thinking. Genes weren't just passive instructions. They were listening, responding, adapting. The discovery challenged a simple idea we all grew up with, that our genes decide everything, and life just follows along. Instead, science began to see something far more complex, a conversation between life and biology. When stress appears, the body doesn't ask questions, it reacts. Your heart beats faster, your muscles tighten, your senses sharpen. This response once helped humans survive danger. It was meant to be short, temporary. But modern stress is different. It doesn't come and go. It lingers. Deadlines, worries, fear, uncertainty. When stress becomes constant, the body stays on alert. Stress hormones keep flowing. Cells receive the same warning again and again. Over time, this changes how the body functions. Sleep becomes lighter, the immune system weakens, the mind stays restless. The body isn't failing. It's trying to protect you. But when protection never turns off, even survival systems can begin to strain. And this ongoing signal is exactly what reaches the deepest levels of our biology. For a long time, the idea sounded impossible. How could stress move beyond the person who experienced it? But research began to suggest something unexpected. The effects of stress don't always stop at one lifetime. In some cases, children show stronger stress responses, even when they never lived through the original hardship. They may react faster to fear, feel anxious more easily, stay on alert without knowing why. This doesn't mean stress is being passed down as memories. Children don't inherit fear stories. They inherit biological signals. It's as if the body prepares the next generation for a world it believes will be difficult. But this is not destiny. It is influence. These signals don't decide a child's future. They simply shape how the body responds at first. Environment, care, and experience still play a powerful role in what comes next. All of this might sound like science fiction, but researchers have been finding real-world evidence that it's very real. One powerful example comes from history. During World War II, a famine known as the Dutch hunger winter affected thousands of people. Years later, scientists noticed something surprising. Children of those who lived through the famine had different stress responses and metabolism, even though they never experienced the hunger themselves. It was as if the body had left a warning, a quiet biological message for the next generation. Animal studies show similar patterns. When animals are exposed to long-term stress or harmful environments, their offspring often show changes in behavior and health. These studies allow scientists to watch gene switches respond to life experiences in ways that are difficult to see in humans. Even in modern life, subtle patterns appear. Chronic stress, poor nutrition, and environmental toxins can leave measurable marks on how genes behave. These changes are not guarantees. They do not decide a child's future, but they do influence tendencies, how the body reacts to stress, danger, and recovery. And it's not all bad news. Positive experiences matter too. Safe environments, consistent care, and healthy habits can send helpful signals forward, supporting healthier gene activity not just for you, but possibly for the next generation as well. Think of it like a garden. Harsh conditions may allow weeds to grow, but with care, light, and nourishment, healthy plants can thrive. Some of that growth may leave seeds for the next garden, the next generation. Even with all these discoveries, science doesn't have all the answers yet. Not every kind of stress leaves lasting marks, and not every effect is passed on to the next generation. Scientists are still learning which stresses matter most, how strong they need to be, and how long their effects can last. One hopeful discovery stands out. Biology is not fixed forever. Positive environments can soften these effects. Safety, support, love, stability. The body can change again. Gene activity can shift. Healing is possible. This uncertainty is not a weakness in science. It's a reminder. We are not trapped by our biology, and the future is not written in stone. What we don't fully understand yet leaves space for growth, for resilience, and for hope. This discovery matters because stress is no longer rare. It's part of everyday life. We live in a world that moves fast, always connected, always demanding attention. Our bodies were not designed for constant pressure, yet many of us live in it daily. Understanding how stress affects our biology changes the way we think about health. Stress isn't just a mental burden. It affects sleep, energy, focus, recovery. And when stress becomes normal, its effects quietly build over time. This knowledge invites a shift, from ignoring stress to managing it with care. Not perfectly, not all at once, but intentionally. Because the way we live today doesn't just shape how we feel now, it influences how our bodies respond tomorrow. When people hear that stress can affect biology, it's easy to feel worried. Some think this means everything is their fault, that every stressful moment leaves permanent damage. But that isn't true. One common myth is that stress permanently ruins genes. In reality, genes are flexible. They respond. They adjust. Another myth is that parents pass stress directly to their children as a fixed outcome. The truth is gentler. Stress influences tendencies, not destiny. Biology listens to environment, care, support, safety. Positive experiences matter. They can soften earlier effects. Sometimes they can even reverse them. This science is not about blame. It's about understanding, and understanding gives us reassurance. Small changes still count, and hope is always part of the story. This science invites us to pause, not to feel guilty, not to feel afraid, but to become aware. It reminds us that our bodies are always listening to our environment, our routines, our emotions. And while we can't remove all stress from life, we can change how we respond to it. Moments of rest matter. Kindness toward ourselves matters. A sense of safety matters. These small choices send quiet signals to the body, signals that say, "You are safe now." And those signals don't just affect today. They shape how the body learns, adapts, and heals over time. Understanding this doesn't mean living perfectly. It means living gently, with care for ourselves and respect for the future we're helping create. If this made you pause, that's a good place to start. Science is still uncovering how deeply our lives shape our biology and how much power awareness can give us. If you found this meaningful, consider staying with the conversation. Subscribe for more stories where science meets real life, exploring stress, emotions, habits, and the hidden ways they shape us. And if this video helped you see stress differently, share it with someone who might need that reminder today. Because understanding doesn't just change knowledge, it changes how we live.